Hi guys, Skylish here, and we need to talk about Arnel Pineda. Journey singer Arnel Pineda has been the object of a series of critics recently, after the performance for the 2024's edition of Rock in Rio. It got to the point where he said that he would leave the band if enough people asked him to. And I think we have a lot to talk about. First, let's discuss Journey's performance. The band said they were having a hard time trying to hear themselves on stage. And this is obviously not them making excuses after the show. During the concert, Arnel Pineda was pointing to his ears and asking for more microphone a number of times. Also, important to say, it is not the first time that a band complains about technical problems at a festival like Rock in Rio. I want you to imagine the amount of work involved in mixing a band like Journey, with multiple instruments, a range of dynamics. Then you want that mix to sound good for everyone who's there, attending at the show live. Some people will be closer to the stage, some people will be further away from the stage. You want them all to have a good show. Now, you also have a huge number of fans that are watching the show on TV or even online. So you also need to ensure that the broadcasting mix will be good. On top of that, you also have multiple mixes for the monitors. Each and every musician will request a different mix. Maybe Arnel Pineda will ask for more vocals, but the guitarist, Neil Sean, would like to hear more drums and so on. That's a challenge. In a festival like that, they gotta take care of all that for a number of different bands every night. Now, you might be thinking that on the list of priorities, it is 100% crucial to have the band hear themselves well, and I totally agree. How can we expect the musicians to play well if they can't hear themselves or hear each other? For the singer, for instance, it is important to hear the harmony well to sing on pitch, and we will fail in timing if we, for instance, can't hear drums or basses. I've seen people who attended to the festival in person, even students of mine, saying that the sound wasn't bad at all there. Now, even if the mix was good for the live audience, the musicians were indeed complaining about how they couldn't hear themselves. Again, if you are a performing musician, chances are you've been at that spot that you don't have a good monitoring scenario, and you know that can be a real nightmare. Sound problems aside, what can we say about Arnel Pineda's performance? Well, his singing performance presented ups and downs, and I think that's pretty much what you can expect from a singing live performance. Here, I'm being 100% honest with you. Journey's repertoire is extremely demanding, and I've been thinking about how to say this, but I think that if we are looking for 100% accuracy, for a model of perfection, maybe we should stick to the record. When we record something, we give it our best, several takes, dozens, maybe hundreds for a single line. And then the producer goes, corrects whatever is still wrong there, so that we have the final product perfect. When we sing live, the whole idea is that we perform that to the best of our capabilities. And yes, as humans, we will commit mistakes. We won't reach perfection. We won't reach that level of perfection that we have for the records. It is important for the audience to realize that. Also, keep in mind that Arnel Pineda is 57 years old. We know that's almost 60 years old and can still sing songs as challenging as those at such high level of performance, even without hearing himself properly. So, yeah, we've had some notes that were wrong. Some were flat, some were sharp, maybe a few voice cracks. Guys, when I perform, I have those things every once in a while, and I hope I don't need to state it for you, but I'm not over 50 years old yet. But now, what kind of positive experience can we take out of that? Well, let's point some. First, Pineda shows a great control of a psychoacoustics pressure. That is, he's not exceeding himself in volume. See how he's holding the microphone close. In situations like that, it's so easy to try to compensate and start singing too loud. Then you have to hold the microphone for, and you can definitely hurt yourself, as your larynx will start to try to defend itself against all that pressure by closing more. And then we go into that spiral of more pressure, more tension, that leads to more pressure and then more tension. And after 3 songs, you can't sing anymore. Arnel Pineda was quite educated to his technique, even under such circumstances. Second, he was protecting himself by letting the muscles loose. You guys know that vocal distortions, rasp and whatnot, are a big thing in rock and roll. But Arnel Pineda is the kind of singer that sings mostly clean. However, we could hear a lot of distortion in this performance. I'll show you guys a few. Well, in vocal anthropophysiology, which is a theoretical framework for my work as a voice teacher, we call that kind of distortion a phaser voice. And the interesting thing is that it happens not because you are adding tension, adding compression. No, on the contrary, it is happening because he's letting go. He's letting the vocalis muscles, which are the muscle parts of the vocal folds, more relaxed. And then he doesn't have that strong closure that would lead to a clean sound. So instead of "ay," he has "ay." That is a great strategy for when you're not having your best vocal day, because you end up using way less strength. And needless to say, going for that sound might not work in all music styles, but in rock, people love it. And the third thing I like to point out is that he went there and he did it. How many of the people who were criticizing him as a singer don't have the attitude of presenting themselves out there to do something that's challenging, that's not exactly easy? He did a great job singing live, with all the successes and mistakes that a human being would have, and for that he deserves our respect and admiration. How many musicians at his age retire? How many singers at his age or even younger are performing to pre-recorded tracks? And I think this is something we should pay close attention to. Our expectations when we listen to music. You hear a lot of discussion about how AI will affect the music industry, and I always come across people saying that, oh yeah, but we will always prefer real live music. Then I have a question. Do we want it to be real, or we want it to be perfect? Now, I know that wasn't Journey's best show. Arnel Pineda also knows that. He's a great singer with a rich history in music, but the way the internet is treating that situation, at least the way I see it, should be object of thought and reflection. Talking about thoughts, I want to hear yours. Write them down in the comment section, leave a like, and mark the bell button so that you stay on top of what we're doing here. And remember, if your concepts cannot be seen in the real world, they must change, and not the world.